This is the Inspection Pros Podcast, where we break down everything you need to know to grow a successful home inspection company. Join host Jake as we get insider knowledge from the industry's best on how to take your business to the next level.
Welcome back to the Inspection Pros Podcast. Today, I'm very excited to bring to you Ethan Thornberry, the Director of Product Development at Breeze. Hello, Ethan. Nice to have you. So, Ethan, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about today. I want to talk about Breeze and what you guys do, and a little bit about your story and what Breeze can do for home inspectors. But let's start out with your story. How did you get into the home inspection space?
Yeah, so obviously most of you would probably be very familiarized with Ethan Thornberry and Patty Thornberry and Phil Thornberry. So, my grandparents were home inspectors running security home inspections, still alive and healthy today. And then Nathan obviously runs and is the CEO of Residential Warranty Services. So just kind of naturally through high school and since a kid, I've been listening to all of them, go through their business interactions in the home inspection industry. And finally, when I got to a point where, could actually change the industry myself, got presented the opportunity at Breeze with the radon monitors in the environmental testing field. And that's just kind of how I jumped into the inspection industry.
Wow. So third generation, you're probably the first third generation industry person that I've had on the podcast so far.
Well, no. I know there's not too many, but there should be more to come here shortly.
Absolutely. I'm sure as the industry grows and as time goes on. But I'm so happy to have you here today because I'm sure that a lot of inspectors want to know exactly, what is it that Breeze offers and how can I leverage that to help my business? How can I grow my revenue? How can I increase my profitability? How can I offer more services? And how can I use it as a sales tool? So can you tell us a little bit about Breeze and what it is you guys do?
Yeah, so just an overview of what we do is we're just an environmental testing manufacturer. So as of now, our current product line consists of a radon monitor, which is our pride and joy, the environmental tester, media products as well. So we have spore traps, very similar to our exact same thing as cassettes. We have swabs, tape lifts, as well as liquid scintillation testing, which is just not a CRM version of testing for radon. So that's pretty much what our impact is on the industry. And we communicate through with Priority Lab and whatnot, and just basically lab support as well.
So for a home inspector who's just starting out in the industry, what does that mean to them as a business owner?
Right. So what it means is we're kind of a one-stop shop if you decided to get into radon or mold or any other environmental testing services. So if you utilize the lab, you will always get our products, the products from Breeze. And the reason they're different is because everything flows fluently from the manufacturer to the lab services where the endpoint is. So everything communicates on your cell phone. You have an online chain of custodies, everything's scannable. Regardless of what product you buy, it always has a serial number on it. So it goes directly into the chain of custody and it really just speeds up your services and makes it a breeze.
I love that. It makes it a breeze.
And then the other thing for new inspectors is, not just I was directing towards the media products with the chain of custody and how everything scans in, but with the radon monitor in specific, we're just always tackling points to cut time out of your time on site. So with the radon monitor, legitimately all you have to do if you have all of our integration set up is place the device, hit a button, and it will automatically produce a report for you. And which with other monitors on the market, most of them you would actually need to analyze a report, build your own, and release it. For us, emails directly to your client. And then with the environmental tester, there's no calibrations. It's a lifetime calibration feature, which can, just eliminates downtime of the product. Since it's self-calibrating, you just hit a button with a spore trap on it, and you can go back to your inspection for 10 minutes and come back.
Wow. So what does this mean to a home inspector's business? Have you seen with your clients, have you seen a home inspector that's, able to to do more home inspectors because they use this as a sales tool and say, hey, I offer this? Or is this something where a home inspector can increase their revenue by using your products?
Right. Yeah. So specifically for the radon monitor and the environmental tester, it just gives you an additional service to sell. With radon, it's starting to become a giant issue across the United States. Every single day, we're getting more and more requests for radon monitors, more and more tests being done. And these tests, they cost about $250 to $300 a piece to your client. So, every inspection you could potentially add on $200 to $300 just by hitting a button on a monitor. And with the environmental tester, generally speaking, it's about the same price range. So for 30 minutes of your time taking indoor air quality testing, you can make $200 to $300 per inspection.
Wow. And so I'm wondering here, like on average for your clients, how much does this add? Do you have a figure or any metrics on how much revenue this would add on average to a client?
Yeah, so we don't have a set point because everybody scales in different sizes, but we like to base it off conversion rates. So basically, you might do, we'll just keep it easy, 10 inspections a month or 10 inspections a week, whatever that might be. Generally speaking, the average client we see generally converts on about 60 to 70% with those additional services. So yeah, you can generally, what is the math on that, I guess? So you can, on average, weekly, if you do 10 inspections, you can increase your revenue by $1,500 just for one machine.
And that's powerful. That sounds powerful.
Right.
Especially for someone who's a small operator, that sounds like that can add a lot of revenue to your business for a short investment of time.
Right. No, and the other thing is we see more and more with the real estate agent side of things that and the client, they are actually requesting for these services. And scrolling online is online age today. So scrolling online, they'll be like, oh, I really want radon and an indoor air quality test. Well, if you don't offer that, not only are you not making the money for the radon testing, but you're also not getting that inspection because they're going to go to one of your competitors that is offering those services, and they're just going to go to the one-stop shop, make it easier.
So not only are we increasing revenue here, but it's a sales tool. You can get jobs by offering this. Right.
No, and a lot of times when you're on the job site, you just have an inspection that was no add-on services, and you see some visible mold or suspected mold. We like to say, never say visible, but you say some suspected mold. You can talk to the client, and you can do a tape lift, right? And for each tape lift or swab, generally speaking, people charge about $100 for that. So, just by seeing something that you suspect to be mold, you can make $100 or in revenue.
Wow. And so one thing I want to go back to is something you said about radon and how this is the trend, how you see it more and more, and it's being requested more and more. What do you see as the future of that? Do you expect this to just keep increasing as time goes on, the interest in these tests?
Yeah. So right now, I believe the reason that radon has become so relevant is due to the Attorney General putting an action level and the EPA getting involved. So currently, the action level for radon is 4.0 picocuries. So if you are above 4.0 picocuries, we would recommend for you to get mitigation on the property. That can be a big expense, depending on your area, a couple grand. And in the future, the EPA is actually wanting to bring down that level to 2 picocuries rather than 4. Once the mitigation systems improve and get more developed and have the ability to satisfy that below 2 average, then they will actually drop that action level in the future. So I don't know when that will be, but in hopefully the near future, that action level does drop, and you'll see radon on really every real estate transaction, regardless of the area.
Wow. So this is, if it's going to be anywhere, what would you recommend to inspectors? If you're not doing this now, you should really think about it.
Yeah, no, just get into it. If you don't see the reason in your market to purchase an actual CRM, which is a continuous radon monitor, then just have a couple liquid scintillation testing kits. Those you just place them, you send them into the lab. They're $20 to $40 a piece, so you don't have to take a giant investment out, and just at least have the service. So if somebody does request it, you don't have to turn them down, and maybe you can get some word of mouth there.
Absolutely. So we had talked prior to the show about an offer that Ethan has. It's very, very nice of you, Ethan. Thank you for offering something to our audience. So could you tell us a little bit about the offer you have for our clients who are looking to add this to their services?
So the deal we have for this Pair Payments podcast is 5% off for the radon monitor and the environmental tester, and then a one-time deal of $150 for a 50-pack of sport traps plus shipping. In order to get those deals, you would either need to email me directly at ethan@discoverbreeze.com or visit discoverbreeze.com or prioritylab.com to get that deal.
All right. Thank you very much, Ethan. I'm sure that our audience will really appreciate that. And I know that this can do a lot for your business. So definitely go take a look at that if you're not doing these testing kits right now. So thank you, Ethan. How should someone in this audience get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you about that offer?
Yeah, just go to discoverbreeze.com. Just call our office line or contact Dr. Shane or anybody at the Priority Lab, and we can get you all set up.
All right. That's awesome. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. I'm sure everyone in the audience does. And we're going to cut to commercial in a moment. But before we do that, I just want to thank everyone in the audience, not only for tuning in today, but for all the engagement that we've had on Instagram. We really appreciate everyone reaching out and telling us what they want to hear, who they want to have on. So I urge you, again, we listen to the audience. Shoot me a DM if you want to get on the show. If you know someone who you'd like to have on the show to hear from them, please reach out to me. If you have a topic that you want discussed on the show, reach out to me. Shoot me a DM and I will make it happen. So thank you very much for tuning in. And please, if you know anyone who would benefit from listening to this podcast, please share this with them. Send it their way. We are going to continue with our mission to bring you experts to talk about things like this and get this information that can be so valuable to an inspector in their business. So please share this with any inspector that you think would benefit from listening. So thank you very much. We're going to take a moment to hear a word from our sponsor, Pair Payments, and we'll be right back.
The home inspection industry is highly competitive, and you need an edge to stay on top. You certainly can't afford to give profit away for no reason. But what if I told you credit card processors may be overcharging you and robbing you of profits you've worked hard to earn? It's time to put an end to being overcharged for payment processing. It's time to take back your profits. That's why we've put together a free report, How to Avoid Being Overcharged by Your Payment Processor. Head over to takebackyourprofits.com, download the report, and put an end to being overcharged for credit card processing. You've worked hard for your sales, and you deserve to keep it. What are you waiting for? Go to takebackyourprofits.com and download your report today.
Welcome back to the Inspection Pros podcast. Again, we are joined by Ethan Thornberry, the Director of Product Development at Breeze. Thank you so much again for joining us, Ethan.
Yeah, no, of course.
Absolutely. So we have had a great conversation so far about your services, what you offer, and what that can do for inspectors. So I'm wondering, now that we know a little bit about what adding these services can do to an inspector's business by being a sales tool, by adding income to their business, why Breeze? What sets you apart? Why would you tell an inspector, hey, definitely come work with us?
Right. So we really stepped into an untapped market. So all the competitors, radon monitors and environmental testers, are kind of stuck in the 90s. Nobody's really came in and started innovating. I think they've been scared. There's just something that's worked for a while, and nobody's really trying to take it and make it easier. So I'll start with the environmental tester. We are the only self-calibrating pump on the market. And what that means is there's no sort of tooling needed. You just place the device and you go. So with other competitors, you might need to send it into the lab to get recalibrated annually, which comes with a fee as well as downtime for your pump. Or you would actually need to use a special tool to calibrate the pump yourself on the site. With us, it's literally just one click of a button for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever time selection you would really want. You place the cassette, and then you can literally go back to the inspection for 10 minutes, maybe take a break, whatever. That pump is going to stop automatically after 10 minutes. With the radon monitor, what's really unique about us is the radon monitor is a cell phone. So we actually have a cell chip in the device that communicates with our database every 10 minutes or whenever I push a button. And what that does for you is if you're when you're placing it at a job site, you just place it and run. All the data is stored. You can create the report later. We also have integrations with scheduling softwares like Next and ISN. So if you create a radon appointment on Next, it'll automatically transfer the data over to our site. And you literally need to click about 4 or 5 buttons and place a device and you're ready to go. That automatically generates the report as well. So after 48 hours or whatever time selection you would like to run the test for, when that completes, it'll automatically create the report and send it directly to the client. And a giant selling point for the radon monitors is we've actually, from doing all these radon tests around the country, we've developed some algorithms to determine the radon value for a home. So in as little as 6 hours, you can get this Breeze Predicts reports. It'll be certified. It's 100% guaranteed. And let's say, we within that 6 hours, we say, hey, this test is going to be 0.8 picocuries. There's no question about it. It's going to be low. And for some odd reason, it comes back high. Our company actually will pay for that client's mitigation.
Oh, wow.
So it's a stress-free. So within that 12 hours or within that 6 hours, if they get that report that says this is certified and it comes back high, we will mitigate. So what that does for them is within 6 hours of a radon test, instead of 48 hours, they can go ahead and move on their purchase and speed up that real estate transaction, which is insanely valuable in this market. And if for some odd reason it does come back high, they don't have it stress-free. They can be stress-free about it because we will come in and pay for it.
And I just want to stress a couple of things here. So if anyone's listening to this podcast today and saying, hey, Inspection Pros always covers the business side of the home inspection industry. Why are we talking technical aspects today? Well, here's why. We're going to relate it to you right now. So what does that mean for a home inspector? It means that you're going to have happy agents, right? If the deals are closing and they're closing faster, that's more jobs, more referrals, all that. But at the end of the day, one of the biggest things that you just mentioned was the innovations you're making, how you set these and you can run. Your time is money as an operator, as a home inspector. You need to have that in mind, that you can set these down and go conduct a home inspection, all that, and you're increasing your profitability, right? I think at the end of the day, the revenue is great, but if you're doing a lot of work and that's taking away and cannibalizing your time, it's going to be a problem. So this seems to me, and why I wanted to bring it to inspectors so that they could hear about this, is it seems like a great way to increase your revenue at a low time cost. This isn't something that you have to really trade off your time. Am I correct in this assessment?
Yeah, no, you're exactly correct. The only time-consuming aspect of it would just be the licensing process to test for radon. And that's only going to be in about 11 states. And even then, it takes about 48 hours to be certified or licensed in any state, really.
Wow. So I just think, looking at this from the business side, if you can add a service that doesn't add too much time, and you got to balance that, right? You need to see, all right, what am I making per hour here on the service I'm adding? Is it worth it? Well, this is something that sounds like to me, based on the innovations they've made, it's just worth it. It's worth the time value of the money here. Absolutely. So I'm wondering, we talked a little bit about the profitability here and how and also the deal. Thank you very much for that exclusive offer for our audience. But to someone who's saying, hey, I looked into radon, I couldn't get a hold of them because I heard there was a supply chain issue or something like that. Could you touch on that a little bit? We've heard that there could be some issues getting these in. So what's the deal with that?
Yeah. So obviously everything has lead times now.
Everything
Totally.
in the world. Oh, trust me. Just a quick story before you answer that question. I'm looking into getting new business cards, and I might have said this on this show, but I'm looking into getting new business cards, and I asked for a quote for different materials to have the business cards printed on, and it is just crazy. Everything is out of stock. Every single material is multiples of what it used to cost even 2 or 3 months ago. So this is an issue everywhere. So that's why I'm very interested to hear about some of the supply chain issues that home inspectors might be running into with some of their the products and services that they offer.
Right. Yeah. No. So with us in particular, We are based in America, right in Indianapolis. I'm actually sitting in my manufacturing facility on the floor every day. Every last one of our products is built and assembled in America. And yet we beat every single competitor's pricing, especially in media products.
Wow.
With that, obviously, we get our parts, it builds up to, foreign countries generally on where that material would come from. Through that, we have just been experiencing tremendous delays on the simplest of things, like a handle, for example. Who would think a handle would take 52 weeks to get in our door? So that's been a tremendous problem. But I think inspectors, if they haven't already been seeing supply chain delays, they're going to in the very near future with whatever services it might offer. Actually, speaking that the other day, we were looking into some manuals for our devices, right? And we were going to outsource it to a guy down the street. He's a really nice guy, and he's actually having a problem getting paper. So everything down to paper is on 52-week lead times. And with that, you actually get capped out to an extent. So he can only buy one bundle of paper. So with big jobs, he really has to prepare for it. And he actually cannot sit on an inventory. So it will just be everything you could think of, like your business cards will, it's going to start affecting you shortly. If it hasn't already, of course.
Absolutely. So that's kind of where I wanted to go with this conversation is how to combat that, right? I'm sure you see a lot of inspectors who, and it could be any additional service you offer, any ancillary service or product you offer as an inspector. What's the best way to combat these supply chain issues? Would it be, to get on a list early, let a vendor or supplier know early? Would it be just to plan well in advance? What do you think? What have you seen is the best way to combat these issues?
All right. So what we've done is we've kind of opened up a way for clients to prepare for this. And one of them is being, you don't want your money locked up anywhere. So for example,
important.
Right. So if you were to order a radon monitor through me today, I would actually not take any credit card information. No down payment required to keep your slot, but just ordering ahead of time is really just going to be the best thing to do. Instead of looking 2 to 3 weeks ahead or whatever you guys might have been doing in the future, triple that. That's what we've had to do. And we've actually hit a major turning point recently from all that preparation. And this is unheard of in the manufacturing field, as I am actually assembling units and waiting for the 1,000-unit run to go out the door, we've already ordered parts months ago for 1,000 more units or 2,000 more units. So just, it's just all just planning ahead for sure.
And this translates to every aspect of business, right? I mean, you can't even get cars now because there's a chip shortage or some precious metal shortage and all that. So I think this is a great lesson throughout the whole of the industries. You might have to start, those lead times you have internally on how you manage products. It sounds like it's really time to start bumping those times out. And would you say maybe increasing or expecting an increasing cost of everything as well?
Oh, definitely. We've already seen it when ordering supplies ourselves. We have contracts with certain suppliers and whatnot, and they've all already reached out to us to increase the price in those orders. So it's definitely in the near future, we are going to see a spike in value for pretty much everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you've already seen an inventory, and I don't think we haven't touched on this at all, is the real estate inventory is minimal and it's super quick. I've been in the market to buy as many homes as possible at the moment. And they'll be on the market. Yesterday, I tried to contact a listing agent and they already told me it sold. And I looked at that home and it went on the market 30 minutes prior. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I know I might be making this, might sound like I'm making this up, but literally 30 minutes.
What?
There was a deal in action, and Patty Security Home Inspections has actually already inspected the property for that buyer. It was absolutely out of control.
Wow, that's insane.
It was brutal.
Yeah. So not only should you expect this everywhere, as I'm sure everyone knows this. You see gas prices going up. You see the price of everything's going up. It's hard to get a hold of anything these days, but it's really important to plan for this in your business. Plan ahead of time. Maybe maybe look at your costs, plan this out, whether it's time or cost. Look at both, plan it out, because this is going to be something that I feel like isn't going away anytime soon. Do you have any insight on that? Do you think this is something that's going to be around for a while, these issues?
So originally we were kind of seeing those lead times shorten here in the past, I would say, month and a half or so. But really recently, for whatever reason, it has increased substantially, mostly from Chinese New Year, as well as the current world situation is definitely delaying boats, and just everything is slowing down tremendously. But honestly, just on foresight, we just being my connections in the manufacturing industry, we hope to see this problem go away within the next 3 to 6 months is really what we'd like to see. But honestly, it's kind of up in the air. Whenever there's a prediction made, it just somehow gets extended back farther. Even predictions have lead times now. It's quite insane.
Yeah. And so these podcasts, people will tune into them sometimes months later after they're posted. So just for some context, what Ethan meant when he said the current world situation, today is March 1st. And I know that there are definitely going to be some shipping issues and some supply issues of like precious metals and energy and stuff like that, because we're in the midst of this Russia-Ukraine war crisis invasion deal. So anyone who's listening to this podcast now, this is a timeless topic, right? I mean, there's always going to be, whether it's COVID, whether it's a war, whether it's a ship getting stuck in the Suez Canal, there's always going to be these world events that can mess up supply chains. So what would you say the only way to combat that would be to plan for this, right? To plan ahead, look at your lead times far in advance for products you're getting in and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, realistically, at least with the products that I deal with for the inspectors, their additional services, generally speaking, what they're looking to have an inventory on is definitely devices and media products. So, for example, the sport traps. And what's really cool and what we have done is we've actually created an inventory management system that is available now. All you have to do is just contact PriorityLab.com, and you'll actually be able to set bumpers for if my inspector gets down to 15 sport traps, it will automatically order 50 for you.
Wow.
So just little tips and tricks like that is what we're personally doing to try to help the current inventory situation globally, but just for the inspection.
I love that. I think that this is something that even if you don't use that inventory management tool specifically, it's very important to think about your whole business like that, right? Keep track of your inventory, keep track of your numbers as best as possible, because we always say you have to know your numbers, whether it's finance or inventory. You have to know your numbers, because that's when you can make data-driven decisions for your business. And if you don't know what you have in your inventory, start tracking that. Track everything and make sure that you have maybe your own bumpers that you manually say, hey, we're getting down to this inventory. We need to go get these products so that we're good to go. But definitely bump out all those, leave a little bit of room for error there, a little bit of margin for error, right?
Right. Now start definitely ordering early. Be safe about when ordering. Don't let it drop down to zero for sure. Generally speaking, like even with marketing materials, for example, with us is the ultimate home book. Generally speaking, clients would order, giant amount of them when they're getting down to 50 left. Now, when you get down to 200 flyers or whatnot, definitely place an order for another batch.
All right. So for the uninitiated, can you explain a little bit about your specific inventory management system?
Yeah. So the inventory management system we have is broadcasted by Priority Lab. And what it covers is basically for larger inspection firms or, even the smaller guys. But just at a general example, let's say, you have 5 guys underneath you and you guys are spread out geographically. So what you can do is actually go into our system and say, hey, we need inspector A, B, and C to have this many sport traps. And when they get to this level, they need to automatically order 50 more. So what our system does is it'll automatically catch that, create an order, and send those sport traps or whatever supplies you may need right to that inspector's home even. Or you can have them all group and send to your office if that's kind of the home base. But it really fits any company's needs. And it's really just a time saver. All you have to do is set it up once, and then until you're in that growth mode where your inspectors need more cassettes, then you can go back in and add additional product. This goes for the same for swabs, e-tape. It's just really the ultimate inventory control system for the environmental field.
Yeah, and I just want to mention again, anything like this, that it's powerful to the business, right? I mean, this is something that you can just set up and you're good to go. So I can't see a reason why someone wouldn't add this to their services. So for me, it's like, hey, this is something that's easy to manage, easy to control, and it kind of is automated. So anything that you can find like that, add it to your business. Whether it's with Breeze or with some other aspect of your business that has nothing to do with testing, automate as much as you can, because as we've said before, your time is money here. And I know it's cliche, but if you can set up something like this and have the ability to work on your business more than in it, that just helps you grow. And that's going to be, as everyone who joins this podcast says, it's going to be a great way to be able to grow your business and not eat up all your time.
That's what it was built for.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like it. How was it built like that? I'm assuming it's because you grew up in a home inspection industry family. Is it because you're the third generation of the home inspection industry family here, that you just said, you know what, we have the perspective, we know what a home inspector needs, and we're going to provide that?
Yeah. So actually, Nathan and I had a conversation about it a while back when I was kind of first starting this post at Breeze. And really just getting my feet wet in the environmental field, I kind of noticed that to be a problem. And actually, Guardian Inspections they actually created a very similar system to us. And we asked them if we could utilize their idea and just create it on a bigger platform and explore it through the entire inspection industry. So credit to Guardian Inspections in Florida. They're the guys that really came up with the deal, and we just kind of advanced it. It just made it so it's user-friendly for everybody. It's on the appropriate software. And now everybody has the ability to do that. Obviously,
love the perspective here. And that's a great story of how it started. But what's the future of Breeze? What do you see yourself offering to inspectors in the future to make their lives easier, to increase the profitability of their business, or increase the ease of operating their business?
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, we're just going to be adding additional kind of software services for your radon monitor, your environmental tester, just making that aspect a lot easier. And then we're always just looking for the next product. For example, we've been working up a ladder safety device for quite some time that is not quite releasing yet, but it will be out the door or fully developed shortly. That was a little tough because if we mess up on that, there's liability. But the other thing that we have been exploring into, we're coming out here soon, is water testing kits. So just every additional service or additional product that we can help you guys supply, we build it, manufacture it right here in America, and we'll always at the lowest price. So
yeah, and as a home inspector and you're the expert, why not offer these services so that someone doesn't either go look for another inspector that does, or look for some other service provider that can offer it?
Right. Yeah, no, it's just it's a great chance to grow. Maybe you hit your limit with the inventory in your market of 5 inspectors and, kind of capped out at that budget. Adding one of these services to your market can really just take it to that next level.
And I do want to mention something that Ethan and I discussed off air, which is, innovation in a sense is, setting yourself apart. Really, these are services that you can add that set yourself apart. We said it, you can use it as a sales tool. But you had said to me when I asked Ethan if he wanted to end the show on, something that he sees inspectors doing that he'd recommend they don't do, or something that he sees inspectors doing from his perspective that they should be doing. And one thing you had said to me was, don't be afraid to set yourself apart. So can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, no, just when you asked me that question, what immediately came to mind is just past several conversations I've had with inspectors that are trying to get into the radon market or into the environmental testing. And they're always just kind of scared of it. They don't know how their clientele is going to react. They don't know how to market it. And just don't be scared. Look at your market. Look at some competitors, what their pricing is. Look at how they're advertising it. And just don't be afraid. Just dive right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Don't be afraid to set yourself apart because, otherwise, how are you going to be seen?
Right. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Ethan. Is there anything else you want to leave with our audience before we head off today? I think we covered a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, no, just like to wrap it up with, again, that show deal, 5% off for the radon monitor and the environmental tester, and then $150 for a 50-pack of sport traps, which is unbelievable pricing. Actually, the average is $250 on the market. And just email me directly at ethan@discoverbreeze.com.
Absolutely. So thank you. Please take Ethan up on that. Ethan@discoverbreeze.com. If you have any questions about this, I'm sure that Ethan would be more than happy to speak to you if you want to reach out to him directly. If you need any advice on how to set this kind of stuff up in your business or how you can do it to increase the profitability and optimize that in your operation, please give Ethan a call or an email, reach out to him. I'm sure that you'd be willing to reach out to inspectors and speak to them on this.
No, of course. Do it all the time.
Absolutely. That's your job, huh?
Yeah. Big part of the day for sure.
Absolutely. So again, thank you so much for joining us today, Ethan. This has been some great information. And I'm glad that I could get this to any inspectors in the audience today.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So thank you to the audience for tuning in. And thank you again for reaching out on the Instagram page we have, which is Inspection Pros Podcast. It's at Inspection Pros Podcast on Instagram. Give us a like, give us a follow. We're on all the major podcast apps, as you know. That's how you're listening to this. But on those, please give us a like, subscribe if you like what you're hearing. Share us if you like what you're hearing. We're just going to keep growing this podcast as best we can and continue to get you experts in the field. As I've said before, I'm not an expert. My job is to bring you the experts and tease out the best information I can on the business side of the home inspection industry. So I'm just so happy to have guests like this today where we can, bring in their expertise, their insight, and get this great information out to home inspectors. So again, thank you for joining us, Ethan. Thank you to the audience for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Inspection Pros Podcast. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss our next episode. This episode was produced by Jake Aronson. This has been a Pair Payments production.